The leaders of Black Lives Matter were stealing, they were robbing, they were deceiving mainly those who gave them money to support the movement, and of course taxpayers as well, but still most of the money was embezzled. Those who were shouting with tears in their eyes, "We are guilty before you, we are racists, we owe you." Well, since you owe, we'll just take everything from you that we can quietly steal. But the leaders of Black Lives Matter turned out to be so dumb that they were stealing everything right out in the open, in front of everyone. They thought they were hiding it, but in reality, it was obvious to everyone. What does that basically mean? Their understanding of how investigations and financial auditing work shows that they are, well, really dumb. I mean, they're such fools that if there were a contest for fools, they'd take second place. You might ask, why not first? Because they're fools.
And the executive director of Black Lives Matter has been charged with wire fraud and money laundering. Federal prosecutors say she moved over $3 million from returned bail checks into her personal account over 5 years. Tashella Sherry Dickerson from Oklahoma City is accused of directing the money, specifically the bail fund group and social justice program, to her own accounts. Isn't it wonderful? The bail fund and social justice? $3 million for herself? The indictment says Dickerson spent the money on personal use, such as trips to Jamaica and the Dominican Republic. Tens of thousands of dollars on shopping, $50,000 on food delivery, a car, 6 properties, cars. Black Lives Matter scammers and Smole are doing the same thing. Fannie Willis did exactly the same thing. Fannie Willis was involved in things like that, going on vacation, traveling. Embezzling the trial funds for Trump is really something. According to the Justice Department's press release, Black Lives Matter raised over $5 million through this branch since 2020, including large grants. Of course, from the Massachusetts Bail Fund and the Minnesota Freedom Fund isn't that great. SANIM, of course, the Minnesota Freedom Fund, is the one Kamala Harris was raising money for, so it's clear how this works. These organizations directed most of the money through the Alliance for Global Justice, which was the fiscal sponsor of Black Lives Matter and required that all funds be used for tax-exempt purposes. M also banned buying real estate without approval and required detailed expense reports on request.
In cash. The girl took $3.1 million, bought herself 6 houses, and ordered $50,000 worth of food. So the servant of the people didn't deny herself anything. Well, just think about it. How could you refuse such a beauty? Black Lives Matter has always been, well, a fraudulent organization, of course, which acted on the orders of, I would say, the Democratic Party, which funded it and directed its actions, and everything else is pure theater.
The Global Black Lives Matter Fund, a separate national organization, came under close scrutiny. New York Magazine reported that he bought a house in California for $6 million with donor funds, and they also bought houses in Montreal, Atlanta, and all over America. When asked about the accusations, a representative of the Black Lives Matter Fund stated that they use a decentralized leadership model.
Since there are people willing to work in the field of so-called new anti-racism, you see, Antifa dealt with anti-fascism and Black Lives Matter dealt with anti-racism, so there were a lot of people willing to do this. And that's why a huge number of these organizations were formed, where the words Black Lives Matter or Black Lives Matter were always included in some way. There, for example, you have Global Black Lives Matter or the Black Lives Matter Fund or the Movement for Black Rights. And there were also the letters Black Lives Matter in those names. And there was also the National Conference. Everyone was registered, everyone received it right away. So the right not to pay taxes is granted in almost every state, and in big cities like Los Angeles, Black Lives Matter Chicago. Well, basically whoever feels like it. All the separate organizations were collecting money, and some of it was spent on themselves, naturally. Those who spent it on themselves were the ones who organized it. There was one person, then 3, so 3 people. Some of the money was paid to those who went out, who went to demonstrations, smashed shop windows, set tires on fire, overturned and scratched cars, and organized street fights.
A federal grand jury indicted Dickerson under 25 counts, accusing him of 24 counts of wire fraud and 5 counts of money laundering. She faces 20 years in federal prison per wire fraud count. She could get 300 years in federal prison and $250,000 in fines.
Oh, well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. A new breakdown of fraud by Blas.
What surprises me is that this particular girl stole and squandered at least $10 million, and yet they're only asking her for a $250 fine. But what about those who were robbed? What about those who gave money supposedly to protect the oppressed, but it was spent on a champagne bath in the Caribbean and a not-so-cheap federal lover? In every hotel where she had the honor, she honored that hotel by staying there. Our beauty here.
High definition. The National Black Lives Matter office told Fox News that she is part of a separate local organization, writing to us. The Black Lives Matter movements practice a model of decentralized leadership. The Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation operates independently from local chapters, and local chapters operate independently from the foundation. End of quote. We reported back in late October that the Justice Department is investigating Black Lives Matter as a whole, checking whether the organization's leaders may have deceived donors during the 2020 protests.
It was because you wanted to be, and with Black Power.
It was a deception.
Cut this out, put it on the news.
It was all a scam. They literally bought mansions. You probably don't know because you don't care about black people.
The Department of Justice is investigating whether the leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement deceived people who donated tens of millions of dollars during the 2020 protests.
Did you hear the news about Black Lives Matter? It's crazy. Do you remember how this organization raised about $90 million in 2020 after the George Floyd protests? Well, now federal prosecutors are investigating where that money went, and this isn't just a rumor from social media. This is the Department of Justice, and they've issued subpoenas, conducted at least one search, and are now checking how the donations were handled, whether the money went to real help, to the community people donated to. Many donors thought they were helping local programs, families, and neighborhood rebuilding.
But in recent years, most of the headlines about the leadership of Black Lives Matter have been about luxury homes.
Fees and internal disputes, not investments in communities.
Do you remember 2020 before? The streets were packed, voices were loud. Everyone was shouting, no justice, no peace. The situation with George Floyd. Amid that storm, Black Lives Matter became the world's largest movement. Money started pouring in, not hundreds or thousands of dollars, but over 90 million. And now, let's fast forward. The Department of Justice is investigating where this money went, since it seems that some of it ended up in luxury real estate. Yes, the Justice Department got a mansion in Beverly Hills, and they called it a creative space for black artists. Unless that black artist is a rapper.
I don't understand why you need a mansion in Beverly Hills. The estate in Beverly Hills, supposedly bought so that poor artists and performers could gather, was in an area where there's no public transportation at all, and poor artists usually don't have transportation, and where you won't even be let through the gates if you don't have an invitation, and no one was handing out invitations to poor artists.
The first Black Lives Matter was about outrage, marches, change, and accountability. But as soon as the donations started coming in, the atmosphere shifted from a movement to management.
And we can't take full responsibility for 3,000 protests all over the world. After all, these are people who listen, respond, and say, we hear the words Black Lives Matter, we'll prove it, we'll take to the streets. There are children who are growing up in a generation where they feel recognized and valued. We deserve to live in a multiracial democracy that serves all of us.
Here, I'm showing you 3 girls who received these $90 million.
And that's not for nothing. They created the global network fund Black Lives Matter. It sounds official, like they have a board and a mission, but it's really more like a non-profit with costly habits. To Zillow, millions came in, promises were made, then suddenly silence. No reports or checks. Just a mansion in place. They said it was a content house. But what is it? TikToks about oppression with marble countertops. I don't know what all these mansions have to do with Black lives.
Now I'll tell you exactly what the founder of Black Lives Matter spent all your donations on. This was all verified. By the way, first she gave her brother $900,000 for security services for his nonprofit organization. Then she gave the father of her child $1 million for live events and creative services. Then she gives another founder $2 million. She invested $32 million in stocks, spent as much as $37 million on grants, real estate, and private charters, according to tax data. But don't worry, she was kind enough to reimburse the organization $73,000 out of the $37 million they spent.
So what good did they do with those 90 million?
Black Lives Matter, for example. Black Lives Matter, for example. How many black people did it help? It hurt many, but in the end, we have to measure it. You know what? How many black people were killed by gunfire in the 4 years after George Floyd? Well, that number increased a lot, didn't it? That was the Black Lives Matter effort to defund the police.
So,
I think we can say as a fact, based on the data, that Black Lives Matter did not help black people. And if it did, tell me how. Well, those are important moral victories. I'm sick of it. It's just another lie. Just a long list of lies.